And I'll ask Councilmember Newsom to lead us in a pledge to the flag.
Please join me. Stand if you're able.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. A roll call, please.
Councilmember Borbo,
Here.
Councilmember Newsom. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Funk.
Here.
And Mayor Moreno.
Here. And I believe Councilmember Darris has an excused absence.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. All right, welcome to all of you that are here. I do want to let you know if you've tuned in on KPRL, YouTube, or Zoom, we're glad that you're here. If you typically watch on channel 20 and you've been able to log in a different way, we do know there's a problem and we're not able to stream this tonight on 20, but the recordings will still be available on YouTube. All of this is always available to the public ongoing in perpetuity, which is fantastic. So welcome to all of you that are here. If you happen to be on KPRL on YouTube and you're not on Zoom or you're not here in person and you want to speak during community forum or during public comment under any one of our items, I'm going to give you a phone number that you can call into. That number is 669-900-6833. Once again, that is 669-900-6833. When you call in, you will be asked for a meeting ID, and that meeting ID is 889-2347-9018. Once again, 889-2347-9018. And this is one of the good things that has come in the last few years. It's made us be more technologically available and greater transparency and outreach to the public. So even when certain technology avenues fail, we've got others that succeed. So that is great. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Council Borbo, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Funk. We will waive the reading in full of all ordinances appearing on this agenda, and the titles of the ordinances will be read aloud by the city clerk at the first reading after the motion and before the city council votes. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Borbo,
Yes.
Councilmember Newsom,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Funk. Yes. Mayor Moreno.
Yes, ma'am.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. We are on to our consent calendar. Items on the consent calendar are considered to be routine and non-controversial and can be voted in one fell swoop unless there's a member of the council or the public wishing to pull an item for conversation or have questions about. And so I will look to my colleagues to see if there's anyone wishing to pull an item. I'm not seeing anyone. I will look to the public, anyone wishing to pull a consent calendar item. I don't see anyone. I'm going to Zoom. And I don't see any hands raised on Zoom. No phone calls, correct, Luke? All right. So I will come back and ask for a motion on the consent calendar.
I'll move approval of the consent calendar.
I'll second.
A motion by Councilmember Borbo, second by Councilmember Newsom. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Borbo,
Yes.
Councilmember Newsom,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Funk. Yes. Mayor Moreno.
Yes, ma'am.
Motion passes.
Thank you. We're moving on to updates from our city manager, Mr. Lewis.
Thank you, Mayor and members of council. Happy New Year. 2024 is here. Hard to believe. And this will be a great year for us. I think there's just some amazing public facilities we'll be getting construction on or finishing planning, and some streets paving and downtown work, and 24 is going to be very exciting. First of all, I want to share that we have a new fire engine to showcase. So this was the engine the council ordered a couple of years ago, actually. We were in Bradenton, Florida in December, completing the final inspection of our 2023, there it is, Pierce BX3 Type 3 engine on an international chassis. So these are the wildland engines that you see that are meant to go up into more country areas and hills and brush, and it's here in Paso Robles getting outfitted, so it did make it safely across the country. So that's great. Next thing I want to share is our 2024 fire hazard reduction burn season has opened. So the Atascadero Fire and Emergency Services is now offering a user-friendly, free online permitting system, which is great. Public fire safety, which enables residents to obtain important information and services online while allowing us to track outdoor burns more effectively, as well as disseminating safety information while you go through the process of getting your permit. So at www.publicfiresafety.com, you can get the software online, or you can also get an iPhone or Android app. So kind of a neat way to get your permit for burning. Burning permits can also be obtained online via the Public Fire Safety app, or there's a long web address, atascadero.org/service/backyard-burning. If you don't have internet access, you can call us at 461-5070 extension 8, or come here to City Hall, and we can also help you. Please be reminded that burn day status, whether it's permissive burn day or not, changes daily and is determined by the California Air Resources Board and the North County weather conditions. Burning is never allowed within 5 days of measurable rain. So for more details, you can go to atascadero.org/fire. Road work continues downtown. We are coming to an end here soon. The rain has definitely prolonged this project a bit, but it's still well within the working days. So there's been some questions of the contractor. This week, we will be focused on City Alley number 3 being paved. This is the alley area between Bliss Massage and Anna and Company. It'll be closed to traffic and parking all week, and the work may extend into the next week if there are weather delays. We will also begin on City Alley 1 between more JC's Salon and Dignity Health tomorrow, January 10th. Entrance to this alley and the first 100-foot section of the alley on the Palma side will be closed to traffic, and there may be a few short delays. The storm draining curb ramp construction work on Palma Avenue between Rosario and Traffic Way is underway this week as well. This will continue through January 16th. Access to residences will remain open. Not associated with the downtown paving project, the gas company will continue working on Palma between Rosario and Traffic Way, and the alley between the Carlton, the parking lot, and Palma into next week. For broadband, this week, utility work continues on Traffic Way from Palma to Colony Park Community Center. They're certainly making their way around here. Parking will be restricted intermittently during this work in this area. We appreciate everyone's cooperation during this period. We certainly continue to update our schedule on banners in downtown physically on the website, and trying to keep really close contact with people. You can go to atascadero.org/downtownpaving.org for more frequent updates if you want to see those. Okay, our father-daughter dance. This is always popular for me and Gracie. Father-daughter dances are wonderful. You can see it's February 2nd and 3rd at the Pavilion on the Lake. We have a great theme this year, Boots and Beauties, and I think it'll be perfect for our city. And tickets are selling fast. So dads, don't be that dad. Buy your ticket right now. This is not what Terry wrote, but I'm giving a lecture to my fellow dads. Get your ticket. Do not wait. We didn't wait till the next council meeting. Tickets are moving and they're not available at the door. So you need to go to the community center, Colony Park Community Center, to buy your ticket. And you want to make sure tickets for Friday night are already over halfway sold. So, make sure you get your ticket. All right. We released our 2024 event calendar for the first week of the year. And so it was actually, I was going through it last night, putting it into my phone. It's in the Atascadero Recreation Guide in mid-December. So you want to make sure you see what's happening. We are busy with a lot of amazing events for the year. It's going to be a good one. So make sure you check your recreation calendar. I have 2 last things. We have our new police chief, Chief Suttles, is sitting right there. He is. Welcome, Chief Suttles. It's official. Yeah, let's give him a welcome. He began his service yesterday and was presented his chief's badge. And so here he is. Just to remind everyone that Chief Suttles has 20 years in law enforcement. Most recently was chief of police for the Bear Valley Police Department in the Tehachapi area of Kern County. He spent most of his law enforcement career with the Glendale Police Department, serving in patrol, detectives, investigations, SWAT, field services. He was a sergeant in the Patrol Bureau, adjutant to the chief of police, public information officer, patrol commander as a lieutenant. So really had some great experience in Glendale. And before he started his law enforcement career, he had a successful career as a reconnaissance Marine, serving our country in the Marine Corps. So just an incredible man. He's really hit the ground running and is warm, kind, and he's married to his wife, Diana, with 3 sons, Joseph, Jack, and Devin. And his 2 sons are in the Coast Guard. So there you go. And his other son will be at Atascadero schools here at the end of this school year. So welcome, Chief Suttles. We're so glad to have you here. And I will save the very best for last. Chief Allen, can you stand up, please? I wanted to salute this man right here. Chief Joe Allen has been our interim police chief for now. Let's give him a round of applause. Chief Allen was living a glorious retirement with his beautiful wife and their grandkids and enjoying. And his city called, just like Cincinnatus and Rome, and said, "Hey, we're not done with you yet. Can you come back and be our interim chief for a while?" It says a lot about you, Chief Allen, that you answered that call and you served our community incredibly well and really helped me in my transition as a new city manager and are helping in our transition to our police chief. So I salute you, sir. Thank you for your service to your city. And we appreciate you. And I wish you now a real retirement, I hope, a good retirement. And I'll turn it back to the council. That concludes my report. If you have remarks for Chief Allen or Suttles. Thank you, Mayor.
I'm going to say it is definitely going to be the last time he comes out of retirement because he wouldn't do it for any other city than Atascadero. And we're not going to need it. So I think we're set. But yes, a huge warm thank you to Chief Allen. It has been wonderful having you back. And I appreciate, I know it's a sacrifice for both of you. And so thank you both for being willing to serve the community in that way. It's been great. And Chief Suttles, welcome. 2 days in, how's it going?
It's going very well. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here.
Good. Well, we're very glad to have you and look forward to a long career with you.
Me too. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Thank you. All right. Let's move on to the community forum. Community forum is the time on our agenda where anyone wishing to speak on an item that isn't on our agenda, but which is under the jurisdiction of the council, you can come forward. You've got 3 minutes, up to 3 minutes, and we set aside a total of 30 minutes for community forum. Now, topics brought up do not become a subject of discussion amongst the council this evening, although we do our best to triage getting you answers, whether it's tonight or at a future date. So come on forward. We ask that you state your name for the record, and we will have the timer going for your edification. Thank you.
Jeff Haslin, business owner, resident of the city. We lose it? Okay.
We better be hearing a big thank you, right?
There we go. I would like to thank our city manager and those involved at Luke has got that. So now that we don't have a 4-wheel drive road, that's great. I do know there's some more potholes to be filled, but
Thank you. What a difference indeed. I actually got a text from someone who said, if you had anything to do with that, thank you. I said, well, it was a tremendous team effort. The city did well. So I passed it on to our city manager so he could let the staff know. All right. If there's anybody on Zoom that would like to speak, go ahead and raise your hand. This is our community forum time. Anyone else here in chambers that would like to speak? Oh, please come forward, sir. Yes. You don't need to raise your hand. You can come forward anytime. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Gary Elliott, Atascadero. I'd like to address my concerns with a couple of 2023 Measure 14 funded projects, which were the rehabilitation.
I'm sorry, we're having a hard time hearing.
okay.
We're losing a little bit. It sounds like you wanted to talk about the roads that are on. Okay, so that is on our agenda right after this. So we'll reserve your comments for that. We'll be up to that in just momentarily. This is for anything not on the agenda.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak on community forum? Again, anything not on our agenda tonight, but over which we have jurisdiction. It's either you press Alt-Control-Delete if it's the computer, or you change out batteries if it's something like a microphone. As always. See, even the high-tech people do that.
Greetings, City Council. My name is Kevin Campion. I am here with I've got some family members and kids from the community that heard that I was going to be speaking tonight. I didn't necessarily recruit people to come, but there's some kids that would like to speak a few words on their experience at A-Town Park, and I'd like to follow up if that would be okay with any questions you might have.
So we'll do that during that item. So again, that's not community.
Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds good. All right. So anyone not here for items about parks, or roads? Love to hear from you right now. Okay, I'm not seeing any hands. Okay, so we'll go ahead and close community forum, bring that back to council. And yes, Mr. Oslin, thank you for that. I think everybody that lives over in that area or takes that is on and off that interchange at any point in time is very grateful, and staff had a lot of challenges to deal with between weather and Caltrans, enough said, and we really appreciate the job done. Okay. Moving on to we have no public hearings tonight, so we've got 2 management reports. And the first one is our fiscal year 2023 annual road report. And I'm going to turn this over to, we have both our Public Works Director, Mr. Nick DeBar, and our Administrative Services Director, Jerry Rangel, who will be delivering this report.
Thank you very much, Mayor and Council. This evening, we will be reviewing the 2024 or 2023, excuse me, F14 annual report. This report did go through for review on the CSTOC committee very recently. So we will, here we go. Uh-oh. Hold on a little bit. Technical difficulties. Well, while we're getting our report up,
I must say that is the quickest staff report we've ever had.
efficiency in government.
Kudos.
Here.
Efficiencies in government. Yes. Kudos, Director Rangel. Yes, down to the essentials.
Council adopted an ordinance in July of 2014 to have present this report with part of the adoption of the F14. The report includes financial statements, revenue information, expenditure information. The retailers began collecting this tax in April of 2015, and it does have a 12-year life, so it will sunset or conclude in March of 2027. Total revenue earned for last fiscal year was about just under 3.2 million. The interest income in our report is listed at $39,000. We actually earned about $59,000, but because of our adjustment for accounting values, we had to mark some of those to values. So that does change that a little bit. Expenditures in our projects, as we were just winding down some of our 2021 projects, those are kind of concluding. 2022 was right in the middle of construction. So you see 3.158 there. And then we were just kind of getting rolling with the 23 and the 24 projects. The total expenditures for the entire fiscal year was about 3.4 million. The fund balance at the end of the year on June 30th was about 4 million, but just remember that those funds have already been committed to other projects. So they are being used and are committed to other things. So there's not just 4 million sitting in there that we're not using. It is going to good use. And with that, I'll hand it over to Director DeBar.
Thank you, Director Engel. So the roads are improving in town. When the measure got passed in 2014, our PCI, pavement condition index, and as I love talking about this pavement management stuff, as the mayor often alludes to, but I'll try to keep it brief, was at 47. And currently, we are trending upward, but one of the we've done so far to date, we've had 52 centerline miles of road been paved. This represents 36% of all city maintained roads, not just the F14 neighborhood roads. The F14, as the council, there's an E14 measure that got passed with F14 that said, if this were to pass, should it be spent on neighborhood roads? So we define neighborhood roads as local and collector roads. So the arterial roads like El Camino Real and Santa Rosa and some of these other larger roads, the F14 is not going to those roads. So the council decided at that time not to use the money on that road, but 36% of all city maintained roads, including those arterials. So very impressive. 80 neighborhood road segments have been completed. Over $17 million have been spent on neighborhood road repairs so far. And with this, it's not just the pavement that we're trying to fix, but it's really making the pavement, work good. So, and last as long as we can. So a lot of the times we've had to replace culverts that have been underneath the road or fix drainage issues alongside the road or on the road. So, it's really had a lot of public safety benefits as well. As I mentioned, current PCI score is 49. This dropped down 1 point from 50 a couple of years ago, but we did start out at 47. When this measure got passed, the city really looked at, hey, let's project out if we don't have this measure and just have the funding that we had at that time prior to this measure, where are our roads going to be in 2023? And we estimated that PCI would be at a 32. So we've really eliminated a lot of that deterioration of our road system. And this is really paying dividends to keep the roads in. It's difficult to increase those roads, the road PCI, but we've been maintaining it. And that's, I think, a huge win for the city. Roads in excellent and good condition have actually increased by 11%. And then roads in poor condition have decreased by 15%. So again, some measurable metrics that we have on this. So one of the things we've done since F14, the first road report, is mailed out a flyer to all the city residents just to summarize the road report that Director Rangel and her staff put together. So we changed it up a little bit this year, but one of the things we have is on this first panel is a map, and it kind of shows all the roads that we've been working on. So kind of showing that it's really filling up a lot more of that map. We also have on that map the roads that are coming up for pavement next year in 2024. So that bottom panel, and this is also in your staff report, it's probably easier to read in your report, but it also indicates the roads that are going to be part of next year's project. And then the southern panel, we actually summarize some of the financials from the report there in the center, and then highlight the 2023 pavement rehabilitation projects there in the bottom center panel. That's a project that's currently under construction right now. It got off to a late start this year, and the contractor has made really good progress on getting that towards completion. And they are approaching completion date, and I think they're going to make it. And as I mentioned, some of those metrics that I had just talked about are also included on the two side panels here as well. So with that, that concludes our presentation, and both Director Rangel and I are available for any questions you may have.
Thank you both. And thank you to the Citizen Sales Tax Oversight Committee for the work that you do. And I think I see at least one member in the audience. There could be more, but thank you for your service. And maybe during community or the public comment, if you wanted to say something, we'd be happy to hear from you. And thank you too for the suggestions on this report. I think it's much more digestible, easy to read, and really see the progress we're making. So some really good ideas. I will look to my council if we have any questions. No, not seeing any questions. I'll go ahead and open it up to the community. Anyone here in chambers wishing to speak on this item? I think Mr. Elliott, that was maybe something you wanted to speak to, was the roads.
For your time and your service. I'm here this evening to address my concerns with a couple of 2023 Measure 14 funded projects, which were the rehabilitation of Balboa between San Fernando and Santa Ana roads, and Corriente between San Fernando and Santa Ana. On Balboa, there are some significant erosion issues east or downhill of the Balboa Alturas intersection. At a couple of places, there's significant drainage erosion to the dry creek and erosion on the north side of the roadway, resulting in the new paving collapsing into the eroded trench. Had a curb system been placed, the water would be directed to the new storm drain and not flow prematurely to the dry creek. On Corriente, stormwater from Santa Ana flows into the newly placed Class 2 road base rock outside the curb and is washed away in places and additional washouts further downhill. Above normal storms will only exacerbate these conditions, which we haven't experienced so far this year. I guess my questions are there plans to make repairs, and how will they be funded? And that's the extent of my presentation. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Elliott. Anyone else wishing to speak on this item? We'll respond to everything after we close the, yeah, didn't want you to think we were ignoring you. Thank you. We took good notes.
Good evening, council and city staff. Jeff Oslin. I am on the CSTOC committee. I'm the vice chair. I'll speak for myself and a little bit of CSTOC. We definitely keep an eye on our funds to make sure they are being spent correctly, because that's what the Citizen Oversight Tax Committee is. We do that also for F20, which is the other tax measure that we pass to help emergency services in our parks out. I can say that we are spending our funds absolutely efficiently, and we are making headway on our roads. With that being said, a couple points to point out so the public totally understands this. City of Atascadero has about 200 miles of center line road. Out of that, I believe about 150 miles is technically supposed to be maintained overall by the city of Atascadero. 50 is not. That's just how it is. In that, as Nick said, Director Aldebar said that the main thoroughfares like El Camino Real or parts of Mile Road and such, Santa Rosa, are maintained by the normal general fund and are budgeted through our city. All of the roads that are by your residents and that are not necessarily a thoroughfare is what the funds are for to improve. With that matrix that was brought up, if we did not have those funds, our roads would be deplorable everywhere. And this is at least stopping the hemorrhaging and the bleeding and starting to get ahead on the roads. One of the reasons that PCI report's not as good is we did have one heck of a winter last year, and it did erode some of the roads that probably could have been held off on maintenance for another 2 to 5 years. So we are making headway, but that's a lot of roads for a small city like ours, 200 miles. So with that, any questions, I'm here to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oslin. Appreciate your service. Anyone else here wishing to speak on this roads item? I'm not seeing anyone, and anyone on the webinar, feel free to raise your hand with the raise hand icon and we'll bring you up. Luke, I'm not seeing anyone on the phone. Is that correct? Okay. All right, so I'll go ahead and close public comment and we'll bring that back to council and staff. So if we could address, are you aware of, I'm thinking Mr. DeBar probably aware of the concerns on Corriente and Balboa, but could you maybe speak to that?
Sure. And so Balboa and Corriente were part of the 2022 project. And that occurred last summer. And as we all know, last winter was a heavy winter, as Mr. Elliott had mentioned. A lot of times, and this has happened on previous projects we had, San Anselmo is one, where we completed paving kind of late in the year and then we have rain. And a lot of these shoulders are sometimes, the road-based shoulders. A lot of our roads are rural. We don't have curb and gutter, and they just run across. But it takes some time for those shoulder bases to kind of set up and become a little less prone to erosion. So we are aware of these areas. Yeah, Balboa is another one. And we are kind of chipping away at those, but we are behind. There's a couple other roads that we recently did. San Gabriel Road is another one where there was so much erosion, or so much flow along the road edge that it really scoured away, and, culverts would get plugged and then that would be bypassed. And then that even had more flow going down the side of the road. So our maintenance crews are going to be working away at that. And as to the funding for that, we actually have road street maintenance funding that we use. So that'll be done by our internally, or we'll have that contracted out. But be patient. I appreciate your patience, and we will get to those road segments. And if we need to add some berm or something else to prevent further erosion, we'll be able to do that.
So I'm curious, doing that now, as we're entering into, or, kind of in the middle of and entering into rainy season, is it best to wait until that rainy season passes then to make those corrections so that it has more time to really kind of solidify?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think what we try to prevent is any undermining of the road. So depending on how close that erosion is next to the edge of the road, we want to try to address that. And it's just going to be, sometimes it becomes a low maintenance issue for a couple of years. And then once we get that established, a lot of times there's not another problem.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. If there are any questions or deliberation, open to it, or a motion, Mayor Pro Tem Plank.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Nick and the staff for all the hard work in making sure that we get this from, and Jerry and her staff for accounting for it, so that we achieve the transparency and accountability that were designed into this process, as we did the same thing with Measure D20. And wanted to check and see if there are, on the various road repairs coming out of the storm damage from last year, if there are any of those that are still in process and where those stand.
From the F14 roads.
Any of the roads.
Oh, any of the roads. Yeah, we actually recently completed San Marcos Road. That was a big one. It was down to one lane up near Los Altos, just south of Los Altos, about a quarter mile. So if you haven't been up there, it's a beautiful soldier pile wall. You can see it coming back from Morro Bay on 41. If you glance up that way, it's great. And that one was actually an FHWA funded project, so not a FEMA funded project. So we recently completed that one. We are chipping away at some of them. There's some miscellaneous road pavement repairs that we still are making. There's some road slope erosion issues that we're dealing with, Balboa and Corriente, a couple of those. Then also up on Santa Cruz, there's another one further up on that we've got some recommendations from, and we got some quotes on. It came in very high, and we're kind of looking at some other alternatives that we can approach. But honestly, we've really addressed a lot of the damage from last winter storm. So I'm really happy with the progress that the city has made on a lot of those repairs, because we scramble, and I can't believe we're already in another winter rain season, because it seems like Public Works has been, in the city in general, has been dealing with a lot of the damage from last year's storms. And I feel like we're finally starting to, be done with that, or just whittling it down to the last few projects. The Director Rangel and her staff will be dealing with FEMA for the next couple of years, trying to get reimbursed. But, as far as the repairs go, we are nearing the end.
Great, thank you. And for members of the general public who are, seeing these roads at times when you might not be, what is it that you would most like to hear from people about, and how should they contact the staff to let us know when they see something in their neighborhood or their street that would need attention?
Yeah, that's a great question. And if it's routine things like a pothole or something like that, they can call Public Works Maintenance, and that number is 805-470-3148. or they can also email pwops@atascadero.org. So that's the appropriate place to send that. Alternatively, if it's something on a capital project or a recently completed project, as Mr. Elliott mentioned, they can also call just the engineering number, which is 805-470-3456, or publicworks@atascadero.org.
Councilmember Borbo.
Yeah, thank you. And I did want to thank you. I think Mayor Pro Tem Funk already stated this, that, I mean, it's very impressive that over the course of F-14, we've addressed over 1/3 of the roads, neighborhood roads in the city. That, to me, that's really the proof is in the pudding and what we told the voters we would do with that money. And we have, and you guys have done a great job executing it. It's to the point, I think, that everybody, even if, their street in front of their house hasn't been paved, they are driving on, everybody is driving on some of these redone, repaved, nice new looking roads. And so I think you've done an excellent job of executing the funds. I did want to follow up though on with Mr. Elliott's comment. I mean, I'm assuming that, and in fact, I think, in discussions with you, I understand you guys always do your best to try to anticipate where the water is going to flow. But sometimes Mother Nature doesn't cooperate, debris fall, limbs fall, change course of water, et cetera. But I assume, as much as possible, it's always taken into account where the water is going to flow. But sometimes you just have to, you unfortunately have to wait through a winter and see where problems occur. Is that a fair statement?
We try not to take that approach. We try to address it during design. And, a lot of times, we don't have a vast network of storm drain systems in town. So a lot of the rural roads that we work on, and so I mentioned the roads that you've heard tonight, Balboa, Corriente, San Gabriel, some of those roads, they're more rural roads. So we don't have a network of storm drain pipes and inlets and curb and gutter. So it becomes a little more challenging to get that water to where we need to get it. And we're trying to do this in a economical fashion as well, best value type of method. So we could add pipes and we could add inlets and we could add all these things, but then we do less miles of road. So we're really trying to stretch every dollar as far as we can and really put it in the places that, the public would want us and the constituents would want. They really want the roads done. And I think if we can make improvements to the drainage, a lot of these drainage issues are existing prior to doing the road project. So it's kind of dealing with that, but I can confidently say, vast majority of these drainage issues that we've had on all these completed projects, we've addressed the majority of them or made that situation much, much better.
Thanks. That's it.
Might you like to make a
I'd
motion?
love to make a motion. I'm pleased to recommend or adopt the recommendation that we approve the annual road report and approve sending it out to the community.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilmember Borbo, second by Mayor Pro Tem Funk. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Borbo,
Yes.
Councilmember Councilmember Newsom. I almost said yes. Mayor Pro
Yes.
Tem Funk. Mayor Moreno.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Motion passes.
4-0.
Girl, sorry.
All these little changes we have to start making. All right, we are on to number 2, our Parks and Recreation update. We have both our Public Works Director, Mr. Nick DeBar, and our Director of Community Services and Promotions, Terry Banish. And I think you might have someone with you that will be presenting this.
Yes, we do. So, good evening, Council. Thank you, Madam Mayor. We're looking forward to providing an update this evening from both Public Works and Community Services to provide a review of the successes in Parks and Recreation. So this evening, we're excited to have Matt Pigeon, our Deputy Public Works Director, sitting over there next to Nick, and also Larice Lopez, our Recreation Supervisor, next to me. And then we will do a look ahead as to what to expect in 2024. And then Nick our Director DeBar, will finish it with the Park and Facility Project discussion items. So let's see if I can do the presentation going forward. All right, here we go. So 2023 year in review, we are going to take you from the January, March storms all the way through to our different rec programs that have been real successful, and also a sneak peek of things in store for what's to come in 2024. So you're going to go through all of that, from adult sports to teen center to the things that are happening in parks. And then we also thought this is a good opportunity to discuss the park and facility projects that we hear about often, and want to bring those to your attention and get your direction on these projects. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Matt Pigeon and Larice to present the 2023 and a look ahead to 2024.
Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for having me. First off, we'll start at Paloma Park. During the prolific rainstorm of January 9th of last year, Paloma Park probably sustained the most damage in our infrastructure, being that it's located between the Dove Creek and Paloma Creek. And once they overtopped, the Paloma Park was inundated with about 2 to 3 feet of water over the top of it that consistently flowed. Oh, sorry. Yeah, talk a little closer. Essentially what happened is it stripped the 240 cubic yards of engineered wood mulch out of our playground and displaced that into the Salinas River. And it also deposited hundreds of tons of silt, debris, trash, all that needed to be cleaned up. In reference to that, a lot of the buildings that were there that house our equipment that we usually use for regular maintenance, and then that rec uses to facilitate a lot of the sports, were inundated with water, also causing quite a bit of damage inside of them, which was quite extensive, to be honest with you.
I'd like to speak on that a little bit and just share with the council and with the community that this was definitely a time for Parks and Rec to really come together. And Matt Pigeon and myself, as well as other members of our teams, really worked very well together in just taking action and, well, getting muddy, I guess, really together. You know, from putting on my boots and helping to go out there and clean things out and tear things out of the concession stand was just really in bad shape, even before the storm, but then the flooding really kind of took it over edge. So it was a great opportunity for us to kind of work together and recreate and clean up Paloma in the best way possible for the community and for both public works and recreation. Next slide, sorry. As you can see, I did not clean up the playground. However, for the concession stand side of things, as you can see the after photo there, I did spend some time talking with Matt and one of our public works members, Sandy Scott, on what would be ideal for cleanup and replacement of things in that concession stand out there at Paloma, as it hadn't really been used much, but there was a lot of interest because of some of our other growing programs. People had been interested in possibly selling concessions out of there. So I made sure to take this opportunity to really speak with our local public health inspector with the county. And I worked closely with Liberty to be sure that the improvements that we were making and the repairs that we were making were going to bring us up to current code. Because what we had in there before was very much just grandfathered in. They were cutting us some slack. But now we are fully functional for concessions in there. We have our current permit and everything. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise in some way. So it was great to work with, 3 different kind of groups, and all of us came together to really improve that concession stand tremendously. And hopefully as we enter the spring season and into the summer, you'll be able to pop by there and get some concessions from a local vendor.
Yeah, after assessing the damage, and we had a playground specialist come in to make sure that the playground was secure and stable. We had the engineered wood mulch reintroduced to the playground, which is finally open. I know the community really loves this park. It hosts many sports events. And after a lot of hours of cleanup and preparation, dirt removal, we finally are at a state where we are ready to host again.
Okay, and I'm going to go back a little bit, Matt, to the listed slide on pavilion flood repairs and Atascadero Creek to Lake pipeline repairs, those type of things, if you want to talk about that.
Okay. Yeah, the pavilion flood repairs. So the pavilion had a leaking roof essentially. The southwest corner of the pavilion is situated in such a way that it takes the brunt of the storms and also withstands a lot of the sun damage that happens between our different seasons. And so what had happened is water had intruded the building and began to rot one of the walls. A local contractor helped us in identifying the issues, and we were able to remedy that. In addition to that, there were areas on the wood floor that had become inundated with water also. All of that is up to date, and I believe everything in the pavilion currently is in good standing order. The Atascadero Creek to Lake pipeline repair. We installed a series of valves that we originally had in the lake park. They essentially failed us, and I know that city manager Ricard helped us with the funding and so did you, to secure the valving so that we can control the flow to the lake better. And I believe this year we'll have a functioning lake fill line at some point.
All righty, thank you. And then the Pine Mountain slide repair.
I can talk about that one. So council did authorize repairs to the Pine Mountain slide. This was Aliza, and we during the January storms, there was a large mass of soil that came down, and luckily did not damage any homes, but did deposit quite a bit of soil on some private properties. But you know, it was just left a big scar on the backside of Pine Mountain that was very difficult to get to. I wish I would have put a picture in here, but we did have a contractor come in, make the repairs. They actually, you can't even see it because a lot of the erosion matting on there just kind of blends in with the natural color of the mountain. But to get access up to the top and haul materials up, they actually used horses to you know, get the materials up, and then you know, these mats are in rolls and they rolled it down, and it was quite impressive with how they made that repair. But that was just something that, you know, one of the many repairs that we had during the winter time.
Thank you. And then we also, of course, had the Atascadero Lake Park Pier and Pathway project, which is amazing. So I'm going to defer to both Matt and Nick to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so the pier renovation and new pathway, it created ADA access down to the boat ramp and to the pier. The pier has been fully renovated, so now it's essentially you can fish from it and enjoy for all the public. It was in pretty bad shape. Anytime you have a wood product near water, your clock is ticking. And essentially, we were able to renovate the entirety of it and increase the pathway width in between there to better accommodate the ADA with a ramp also.
Righty. Larice, you ready?
Sure. Okay. So just a quick review, I guess, of 2023 in recreation for the city. It was quite a year. We had a bit of some transition going on with our staff, lost a longtime member. But with that transition, we actually were also lucky enough to have some new members join the team as well. And I'd like to say we kind of hit the ground running. overall in 2023, our numbers for our programs, just across the board from youth to adult programs, numbers grew. Definitely. We had our adult kickball league. The numbers doubled this year compared to when we first started our very first season back in the spring of 2023. It's grown in popularity, not just for players, but also for the community. On Wednesday nights when we are in season, you can come down to the Paloma Creek Park. And both softball fields are in use for adult kickball games. We've got music going. Local food vendors come out and, you've got an option for a meal. And I mean, families truly come out just to watch the games, whether they're participating or not. So it's really a very fun community social event as well as an active activity for our adults to participate in. Our adult basketball league for our spring and fall seasons, we had our highest numbers of teams total in each season in 2023 with a total of 20 teams overall. So those numbers are, we're back to our pre-COVID numbers and a little higher even. So we've seen some great success there. Our youth volleyball program as well. We actually had to add a second night this year because there were just so many kids that wanted to participate and we just didn't have enough time in one night to get everybody through. So that's a huge success. Our T-ball numbers were back up to pretty high to pre-COVID time. So that was great to have all our baseball players or pre-baseball players coming out to learn the sport and prepare to enter into little league or girls softball. And then as well as that, we also attempted a summer youth kickball program. And this was in an effort to reach some other kids in the community that maybe didn't want to participate in a very super competitive sport, but maybe just something to kind of get out of the house, get active a little bit and play a fun casual game of kickball. You can't take it too seriously, And so that was a pretty successful program. We got to have kids come out that I've seen through in the community and other things, but not actually participate in a sport yet. Of course, we did have some of our athletic participants that have pretty much done every sport you can think of in town. They also participated, but it was really cool to have a whole group of youth come together, including the youth that normally wouldn't participate in a competitive sport. So we do plan on trying that again this next summer coming up. And then let's see, also our partnerships. We really built up some partnerships with a few of our groups that are here in the community. The Slow Roll Community Skate Group, also Doomsday is part of that group. They run some skate classes through our recreation program as contract instructors. We've met together a few times to kind of talk about, ways that we could team up and offer some extra fun activities for the youth at different times of the year. So stay tuned on that stuff. Some special interest groups that have started reaching out, looking for spaces to meet, looking for a place to kind of have somewhere to convene and get together and talk about their interests and things. We did start with a few of those. The Capslow Teen Program, though, is something that's been really cool that we've done a few times now, where Capslow comes up and during Teen Center hours offers some healthy relationships course activities. We also had a mindful group that would come in on Monday afternoons and kind of hold some space to, kids that just needed somewhere to maybe do some mindful artwork or some mindful activities to really just kind of hold some safe space for them to just kind of relax after a hard day at school or, coming back from COVID and re-entering, that whole social scene could be overwhelming for all of us. And so really working with some other groups to, really want to make sure that we're providing a vast array of services and resources and activities to the youth in our community. And we did a bit of that in 2023. And then the next slide comes in our recreation guide. So that was a little bit scary and overwhelming for me at first, I will not lie. But it actually turned out great with everyone that's on our team that participated in that. Our new rec coordinators really jumped in on that. Terry was a huge help. We really just, I don't know, hit the ground running with it, took it over and really revamped the layout of it, the colors, the just overall look and feel of it and the way it reads. So with that as well, we increased our advertisements, just about doubled the amount of advertisements in 2023 as compared to 2022. So with that, that definitely either brought us in with revenues from the advertisements, or we broke even depending on the seasons, because we run 3 different rec guides. We do our winter, spring, and our summer, and then our fall. And that's been a great project that we've kind of all been pretty proud of ourselves for being able to get through that, because that was one of the scarier things in our staff transition time. But we did great. We also brought in some new contract instructors to help fill the space in that recreation guide. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, I guarantee you'll be able to find something in there that you'll be interested in checking out and either attending a special event or a class, or getting involved in some type of activity. But it's been great for the community and for our budget.
Thank you. Okay, and on to 2024 look ahead, and we will have Nat Pigeon take it from here.
So Paloma Park parking lot, it's in a little bit of dire need. And so we have been awarded some funds to completely redo the parking lot. We're going to be looking at different ways to stripe it to maximize the amount of parking spaces that we can have there, as it houses a lot of sports, and that way we can get all the parents in there. We're also going to be looking at doing a lot of pathway and trail maintenance. We have a lot of trails throughout the city, whether it's State Route 41, around Paloma Park itself, around the lake, and then also in addition, I think the traffic way trail that's along there also. And besides saying that, I'd like to say that working with Mrs. Lopez has been an absolute pleasure, and the Parks and Recreation team as a whole has really turned a corner in my eyes since starting here. The way that we work together in a partnership for a unified goal has been an absolute pleasure. It really has. And another unsung hero is our routine maintenance in our park operations. Most of the time, I tell my staff that if people don't notice what we're doing our job. From cleaning the bathrooms to mowing the lawns to making sure that we have a safe and welcoming environment in our parks. There's a lot that goes into that. And not only are they maintaining the parks themselves, but they're also maintaining the equipment that they're utilizing to maintain the parks. So they do a lot back there to kind of help support us. And I think they're doing a really, really great job.
Thank you, Matt. And likewise, right back at you and your whole team. It's definitely been a great partnership that I'm very happy to be a part of. All right, so looking ahead for 2024, as you see, we've got a lot listed out on there. But just a quick recap is we are definitely looking at offering more adult sports, more adult programming. We know that our demographic is changing here in town, and there are a lot of adults looking for social outlets, but not social outlets that are just surrounded with going out to the restaurants or the downtown life. They also want some active options. And so, as you can see, we've got a few options listed there that we do plan on doing. As I mentioned before, we will be bringing back a second season of our summer kickball league and giving that a try. So if anyone is interested, please come on down. Teen center programming. We're going to continue our teen exercise club, offering an option for, teens to stay fit during the summertime, whether they are, not necessarily out there participating in sports. There is still an option and there's still something you can do to keep yourself healthy. We're looking to bring back our teen advisory group, really looking to get a group of teens, local teens in town to sit in on a group once a month to meet with our staff and to really share their needs, their concerns, what they would like to see in the community, how could our team best serve them. And also looking to create a new summer program over at the teen center as well. So if anyone has any ideas or wants or needs, feel free to contact me and let me know what that would look like or what you would want it to look like. We're looking to expand to more partnerships. We know there are some amazing groups in our community that have a lot to offer. And if we can find ways that we can work together for the greater good, that is one of our main focuses for 2024. So if you or someone you know is interested in teaming up with the City of Atascadero's recreation team, please send them my way. I always have an open door over at the community center. We're recruiting more contract instructors as well to offer an array of classes at the community center. We are always interested in what does someone have to offer and teach. Please come see us and we'll help with providing a space for that. As well as we will continue to work to not only build up our partnerships, but keep our great partnerships that myself and Matt have really spent a lot of time building up with our Railhead Riders user group out at the Paloma Arena, Babe Ruth, Little League, Recreation Soccer, Atascadero Girls Softball, our pickleball group, Adaptive Recreation, Special Olympics. We really are going to work hard to make sure that we're all working together and providing good, safe spaces for everyone to keep running their programs.
So there are a couple items in the staff report that are detailed out that staff is looking for council direction on. One of these would be the recently completed pickleball courts. Next slide there, Terry. So there's an area in between the basketball courts and the pickleball courts. That's mulched area. It's about 10 feet by 65 feet long. That during the mornings when the pickleball club is out there playing, that's an area that they set up chairs and rest or socialize, I think, as well, and other things between games. But often it spills out towards the basketball courts and it's not always ideal, such as during the winter time when it's a little mushier, softer to sit on with their chairs. So one of the ideas that came about, and staff has been talking with the pickleball club a little bit about solutions here, and a couple ideas came up. One is to make it a hard surfacing, so either concrete, or another idea would be DG with like AstroTurf on top of it. That would be maybe a little more cooler during the summer, cheaper. So staff is looking for council direction on that. Concrete would be about $30,000 quotes we've gotten. And to do a DG base with as artificial turf surfacing is about $17,000. And there's an opportunity potentially, staff again is looking for council direction if you would like city to kind of fund this, or maybe there's an opportunity to cost share with a pickleball club. Next slide, please. The picnic tables at the Atascadero Lake Park are aging. They're generously constructed and donated to the city by the Atascadero Kiwanis Club many years ago. They've served really well, and we have been talking with members of the Kiwanis about they're looking for another service project, and so we're looking to talk to them and see if we can make some repairs to these tables and get a little more life out of them. Sometimes they break because somebody might be trying to break a stick to burn a fire in the barbecue grills or some other things. But we think that these could be more serviceable for a while. The other thing too is there's one picnic table around the playground area that's across a pathway. When we redid the playground a number of years ago, it actually shrunk in its footprint. And there's a sand area that's not really used anymore. What that used to be part of the playground. It's the area on the lake side of the playground. We came up with an idea of putting 3 picnic tables there. So like having 3 slabs, concrete slabs. And the new picnic tables we've been using at the barbecue areas are more expanded metal with the, vinyl coating on. And we would propose to put those in that area, then maybe do DG surfacing around it. We actually have funding in the current budget for doing this, but we would be looking to talk to the Kiwanis and see if they wanted to, perhaps build the concrete slabs and do some of this work as well. And then lastly, the Atascadero Skate Park, George Beatty Skate Park. Currently, the city has a contract with Kevin Campion or Paradise Coalition to run this facility. We've been talking with Mr. Campion for a number of years about the outside area and back. This area is actually not really addressed or part of his lease agreement currently with the city. His lease is coming up, I believe, in April of this year. So we're going to be discussing that further with him. But we've been talking for a number of years, and we actually, as part of the parking lot and trail repair funding that we had in this last budget cycle, we were able to get some money in there to make some repairs. In the back here, maybe next slide there, Terry. I think there's another shot of it, perhaps. In between the ramps, those are ramps that used to be inside, and they're kind of got phased out and replaced with newer ramps. But Kevin's kept these in usable, condition. But in between those ramps, there's cracks in the pavement, as you can kind of see in this, and it's kind of becoming a rougher surface. So the budget that we had included up to $50,000 to come in, mill that off, make in between those ramps and make nicer surfacing. But more recently, Mr. Campion, the city staff, when we had a meeting out there, he has a new vision for this back area to make it more of an open skating park, kind of a, I guess, old school 1970s type skating park. And also have skateboarders, that can use it. Currently, there's a lot of primarily scooters are using this park. And we looked at concrete costs, which are about $300,000, which is a bit cost prohibitive. But if we were to remove all the ramps and redo the entire asphalt area with new asphalt, it would be about $75,000 to $100,000, so another $50,000. So we are looking for council direction on this, and let's see, check my notes. There's a couple out. So those are the 2 options: is keep the ramps in place, serviceable, and do the area in between, or maybe do the whole entire area. I don't know, the city manager might want to weigh in on this.
Thank you, Director. Yeah, Council, just to wrap this up, I wanted to kind of step back a bit and look. We know that recreation and quality of life is part of your focus and is really important. We've had some of these projects kind of pop up. They aren't budgeted. They haven't gone through the process looking at relative to other projects in the community. And so it's kind of unique, but I wanted to take this opportunity because we were talking about parks and recreation, and we know that's important to you. And we know these programs are important to give you a chance to weigh in on them. I think, again, because there aren't funds budgeted, we were trying to come up with novel approaches that required some partnership, approaches that improve facilities in a way that still make them very functional and very usable. Like, for example, the asphalt and the back of the skate lot. So I think the recommendation we have tonight is prudent partnering with pickleball, sharing some of the costs of that seating. It is most used during their club session. And we really are trying to make sure that they're not competing with basketball. So there's a public interest to make sure all of these athletes are able to do their program in a safe and cooperative manner. And so that's why we thought some partnership of sort on the first one made sense. The improvements at Lake Park, really appreciate Kiwanis and their efforts to expand family seating around the playground. There's one picnic table that families can sit at near their children. So I thought that was a really good thing to invest in, and Kiwanis is willing to partner a lot on that. And then the third piece being, as you see, the skate park is of interest to the community, but those aren't budgets. We really wanted to try and be creative with how we put funding together for that. So that concludes our report. We're happy to receive your direction. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's, we'll focus in. I think we can just ask questions about all of these projects. We'll ask questions of staff and then we'll come out to you and see what you all have to say about it. So with that, I will look to my council members for questions. Councilmember
First.
Let's go with Councilmember Newsom.
Thank you, staff, for putting that together, and city manager for giving us your insights onto it. I think what I was looking at is what we're able to look at the longevity. I mean, our goal is to keep our kids as busy as absolutely possible. Every waking moment. But also making sure that it lasts a long time for multiple generations to utilize. So looking at that, you did bring up what I had written down about possible service clubs contributing, fundraisers, how do we best partner? And then if we did have projects that were somewhat budgeted and we did get a partner to contribute funding, are we allowed to shift that budget, say like on the picnic tables for another project?
Yes, you certainly could do that. So if someone came forward to sponsor those entirely, that would create some resource, low five figures that you could use towards something else.
Councilmember Borbo.
Thank you. As a follow-on to that question, I noticed the Kiwanis metal logo in the, into the concrete bench, which is great because they built those, but it gave me a pang of jealousy as a Rotarian. And to follow on, and a follow on to Councilmember Newsom's question is, I'm assuming that the same could be done if another service group sponsored.
We welcome recognizing all service clubs for their contributions to the
Right.
community.
Thank you. Because I think that's a good way, a good healthy competition, a good way to, inspire clubs to donate. And speaking of that, I know one of the possibilities, if you look at back in the picture of the pickleball court, you see a nice shade structure there that was, built, paid for and installed by the pickleball club members, which is somewhat in keeping with our, I think our arrangement in the first place when the city expended city funds to, for the majority of the pickleball court itself. Yeah. So that shade there was installed. I was visited there today and had a lengthy conversation with one of the members who I see in the audience here tonight. And so again, some of the clubs might be able, the active clubs may be able to participate because if I understand correctly, as Rotary's donating to this, that Mr. Pigeon is working on some improvements to the dugouts at Paloma Creek Park with the Little League group itself trying to put together the project, if you will, in terms of labor and the donated materials and some financial donations from service clubs. And so there is some reasonable expectation that some of the groups that participate in some of these activities, might be able to help, right? I mean, in other words, we're not just going to take care of all this with city funds. We're expecting some degree of contribution on the part of some of these active groups.
I think if that was direction from the council, we could do that. I don't know that staff is going to go out and try and find.
I wouldn't expect
but
the staff
if groups
necessarily
wanted to
to do
step
that.
up on these projects and the council wanted to give an opportunity for that, that'd be terrific.
Yeah. Okay. And then if we could go to the summary of the recreational events, I'm going to display my ignorance here, but I can't avoid asking. The one where you show the results, Louise headed up. And you showed some people in various activities. I think a girl playing basketball and there you go. So I'm going to display my ignorance, but I'm trying to figure out what the man in the bottom picture is doing. It looks to me like the dodgeball. You talked
That
about
is our
kickball.
adult kickball league that I was speaking on.
That is the
Um,
adult kickball league.
That
Okay,
is
so
kickball,
you're
yeah.
not wrong, Mary. Never be afraid to ask. All right, thank you for that clarification.
We apparently need to go down one evening and watch the event and eat and have dinner with the food trucks and all of that.
Can council have their own dodgeball team?
There might be too many people. when
Yeah,
I hit
I'll
us.
get you guys the team application.
We're just going to call that a Brown Act violation and move on. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. And thank you all for this report. It's really, really helpful to see what's going on. I want to circle back to this sort of long-term vision of other park assets and how we fund them. And one of the, I know when new development projects come into the community, they have to set aside impact fees and some of that is for new parks, for facilities to accommodate more people living in the community. And then we also then have, we get grants and we have partnerships and we spend city money on maintaining and improving our parks. I wanted to check and see with regard to the sort of the impact fees collected, whether there are specific major park projects that are sort of in the works being developed, being funded under those fees currently that we know of, or they're planned for the future. And if not, where we stand on other sort of big ticket improvements that are needed, such as expanding soccer fields or other kinds of interests.
Thank you, council member. That is a great idea. We do have that funding, as you suggest, for expansion of those services for additional population that joins our community. And we do have a list in the impact fee schedule that provides certain projects that we will do. We are kind of waiting to finish up the general plan to get that one updated as well, to kind of get a refresh on that. But there are currently identified projects in there, but none that we're working on at this moment, particularly for those.
And are there particular projects that we know now in terms of the general plan update, or is that really not quite ready yet in terms of planning for parks?
I think we're still kind of going through that process with the general plan update, and then we'll kind of update that impact fee list as well at that point. So not finalized yet.
Okay, thank you. And then the pickleball courts. I noticed you were mentioning that we were planning for a pickleball league. So that would be something that would be happening in addition to the club that has active round robin and types of things going on.
Right, so currently there's the pickleball courts behind the Colony Park Community Center at Colony Park. And the pickleball club runs their club time when they have their general play. And we do have some other adults in the community that would like some competitive pickleball play. And it really wouldn't be anything too outrageous or anything, but just really just coordinating and putting together like a general schedule and some teams, pickleball teams that would, compete against each other and kind of just managing that. And really, it would be probably something more of like a early evening type of thing. Whereas the pickleball club, they do their activities usually in the morning times.
Great, thank you.
Well, I thank you to Ms. Lopez and Mr. Pigeon. I appreciate your all your knowledge and how well you're working together. I think you're a really good example of what we always talk about in Atascadero and what a great team we are. So thank you both. What I'm understanding of these three is pickleball, 17,000 for that improvement, and we're hoping to do some sharing. Number two, the picnic tables. It seems like that's budgeted plus work from Kiwanis, so there's nothing more required there. Skate park, we've got budgeted for the improvement or the sort of repairs. But if we wanted to do the complete overlay in asphalt, we're talking about another $50,000 to make that into sort of the skate boarding as well as the scootering area.
Yes, Mayor,
Okay.
and we wanted to gauge interest also on the awning and the paint of the building. It's weathered. And so
Got it.
if that was something, that is an item, appreciate you breaking that down. The first two items, immediate direction would be helpful. Because I think we can start working through those. More immediate also on the third item on the skate park would be that we'd come back probably in a month with a proposal with more specific costs on painting asphalt, because that's would likely exceed my authority to do that. So we need to bring that back to you anyways.
Okay. And so I do want to know tonight, you're looking for direction. I don't know that we're looking for a motion per se, or are we, maybe I'll look to the city clerk, or you can let me know as we're wrapping up if we're getting more specific in something. that you think
There was some
needs to have
consensus
motion.
direction from the council. Most of this I have authority to do, but I thought it would be
That's
important.
what
that you
that's
weigh
what I,
in.
that's what I thought. I'm
Thank you.
looking, I think they typically put that into my mayor's agenda in case we want to do a motion. So, and one last question, which has to do with parks, but not with these three items, and just a brief answer, because I am asked all the time, especially when I'm on the radio, but even out and about, why we don't put more fish in the lake. And I try to explain to people, it's not the city of Atascadero that does that. We don't have control over that. We don't have any authority to do that. But I would love for you to let the public know the situation with the fish in the lake.
Well, Mr. Pidge and I are both big fishermen. And actually the
So
lake,
you've drained the lake and that's why nobody has any fish.
I'm out there with a net, just catching them all.
Just know where they are.
You just hired the pelicans.
Actually, Fish and Wildlife just recently stocked the lake with a batch of trout. So usually they do about 3 plants a year. And believe it was maybe 2 weeks ago when you always know. And honestly, it's on social media or something, because all of a sudden there's like fishermen all over around the lake, and oh, they must have planted the lake. But they recently did that just before Christmas, and we expect a couple more plants during the winter.
So about 3 times a year, you said.
About 3 times. And
Okay.
each time is about 500 fish. The other telltale sign is you'll see the pelicans out on the lake as well. So
Exactly.
they like the trout too.
All right. And we couldn't just go out and get our own trout and put them in the lake. It doesn't work that way.
No, it does not. But there are largemouth bass, and there's crappie, and it's or bluegill. And we also have seen catfish in there. So there's a variety of fish in our lake.
Very good. Thank you. All right. I am going to open this up to public comment, the moment most of you have been waiting for this evening. So we will ask you to come to the lectern, and you each have up to 3 minutes. And if what you plan to say is repetitive, you might just get up and say, hey, what the other gal or other guy said. Don't feel it necessary to repeat what everybody has just said, but come up. We want to hear from you. And welcome first speaker, Kawanian.
Yes, hi, my name is Albert Almadova. I'm the Lieutenant Governor for the Kiwanis Club of Atascadero. And I want to thank you, gentlemen, for your report. And I'd like to comment about the park benches. That is something I've been wanting to step up, and our club's been wanting to step up and do something and repair those, because we are the ones that built those cement ones. And as you can tell by the pictures, they're slowly falling apart. And our thought was that we would like to do something to help put the new ones in there, like the brown ones that you were talking about. And so I guess what I'm asking is that if I can get a price, if you guys come up with a price for each table, that way I can go back to my club and give them an idea of what we're looking at to do some fundraising, and maybe get Rotary involved. As a matter of fact, I'd like to thank Rotary for helping out, stepping up and helping us with Winter Wonderland this year. It was great. And thank you very much. And there you go, Charles. And and then as other projects come along, like you said, Kiwanis is always looking for service projects, in the community, anything we can do to help this community. That's what we're here for. We're an on-hands community organization, and we love helping out and doing projects like that. So if there's anything that we could do to help, make those come along a little bit better, give us a holler, reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to help out. And then we'll include Rotary, but some of them don't like to get their hands dirty. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Almadova. Welcome, next speaker.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm Bob Brown, president of the Atascadero Pickleball Club. And just to refresh you a little bit, we do have a facilities use agreement with the city. So we have what's called skin in the game. And for that, we provide maintenance of the outdoor pickleball courts, the 4 outdoor pickleball courts. I'd also like to comment briefly about Larissa's comments about the growth in recreational play. When we were first formed our club back when the courts were being built, I think we had about 50 members or so. There would be about maybe 10, 15 people max would play 3 times a week. Right now, we're up to about 25 players a day playing from 8 to noon. This results in about 500 court visits per month, or close to 6,000 per year. So this is just for the club play. So we don't know what those figures are like, in the afternoons or evenings, but safe to say that the courts are really put to use. When it comes to the area there, we've talked to certainly Nick and have discussed that with him. We're open to all sorts of solutions, whether it's the concrete solution, that's the high end, versus the DG versus AstroTurf. We're amenable to both. What we would be willing to do certainly is, under our agreement, take that under our maintenance obligation and provide that. If it is an AstroTurf DG solution, it is going to be more maintenance than just spraying off a concrete surface. Dogs will naturally love that AstroTurf and, will behave accordingly. So we'll have to make sure that it's, cleaned and ready, not only for our club, but for the public as well. So we're open to discussion about that. We're not sure about exactly the derivation of the interference with pickleball versus basketball players. When we're playing in the mornings, the club's playing, there's maybe 1 or 2 people per week that are playing. We have yet to see, just as an example, we have yet to see any basketball players in the mornings between 8 and 12 this year. I know we're 10 days into it, but there hasn't been anybody there. That said, we look at this as a city project, but we are open for discussion. We could provide labor. We have a good group of people that would volunteer if it's a DG or AstroTurf solution. And I'm open to any questions that you might have that be happy to answer.
Thank you, sir. Why don't we, if we've got questions at the end, we'll bring you back up.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Welcome, next speaker.
Hi there. My name is David, and I fortunately got to be part of the first revamping of the skate park over 15 years ago, and being part of the vision of that when we first rebuilt it and took over from the city. And here I am, after being gone for over a decade, coming back with my own kids, coming interested in being there and being a part of that. So I just wanted to come and just say how I think we all know the reputations of lots of skate parks out there, and just the original vision, and to come back 10 years later and to see the type of environment that Kevin and Andrea have really cultured there, just a really safe and supportive place for kids to go, and just the after school opportunities for a lot of parents that aren't able to pick their kids up right away. And like we always said, a little bit of distraction after school, and just where it's come, and what it provides to a lot of us, just any type of consideration and extra attention. I know it's different because the public facility is privately run, but we just would appreciate, as a group, any extra considerations are much appreciated, and we really are here to help, and just want to see our kids have a place to go, and it continues to be the place that it is now for a long time. So I think we have a lot of people that have something to say.
Thank you.
There we go. Hi, my name is Hayden, and I have been riding at A-Town Park for 3 years now. I have met a bunch of nice people, and a whole bunch of them are my friends, 6 to 21-year-olds. Hang out. There is no bullying at A-Town Park. World champion riders grow up riding there. Kevin and On are super supportive and super nice. It's a quality park, and it has quality people. Adults and kids help each other wherever it's a new trick or someone falls down. It's very safe, and I think it's my favorite park.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lulu, and I'm here to support A-Town Park. A-Town Park is a great place for kids to progress in their scootering and skating. A-Town Park is a great after-school program, and sometimes it's a great place to get work done. And it's a great place to make new friends. It's very good, safe community. You can learn from others that ride a lot. The workers like Will are awesome. Also, we have really good comps and nice prizes that they work hard on. At first, A-Town was kind of scary, but then I met Will, Amy, Kennedy, Claire, and Kevin and On, and it felt like home.
Thank you, Lulu. Next speaker. All right. I love how excited you guys are for each other. I am going to ask that we limit the yelling and the clapping and all that. Have fun, kind of go like this, but let's keep moving. Love hearing from all of you though. Sir. Excellent. Nice. Nice.
Hi, my name is Boston. I'm 12. I've been riding at A-Town for a while. Andrea and Kevin have been so nice to me. When I started, my sister was the only one that I was riding with. But then I met Jet and Cole and Hayden. Now we ride together and work on tricks. I'm very grateful for Kevin helping my family out. A-Town is a great place to ride, hang out with your buddies. Riding at A-Town has really changed the way I look at stuff.
Thank you, Austin. Next speaker, come on up. Who's next? Welcome.
Hi, my name is Quinn. I'm at A-Town 5 days a week. When I first started riding at A-Town, I was struggling with friends at school. Then I met Kennedy, Claire, and Amy, and they were really nice and accepting. My confidence has grown, and they helped me progress my scootering. I have now been scooting for a little over a year, and I'm so glad this is the sport I have chosen. Kevin and Andrea have made a great community for kids to learn and make friends. I'm so grateful that A-Town is in my life.
Thank you, Gwen. Next speaker, come on up.
Hi, my name's Kennedy. I'm 14 years old and have been riding at A-Town for around 6 years now. A-Town has really become my second home. I've made countless amounts of memories and lots of friends along the way. It's such an amazing place it's such an amazing including place where kids can learn new tricks, hang out with friends, and even make new ones. I'm so thankful that A-Town gives me a space where I can progress in scootering and grow mentally and physically. The staff are all also really nice and great people. I'm so grateful for Andrea and Kevin. They are such awesome people and have supported me in my scootering career since the very beginning. I would never be where I am today without them and A-Town. I'm so grateful I have gotten to grow up there and experience so many great things. A-Town may just seem like it is just a skate park to some people, but to me, it's like my family.
Thank you very much, Kennedy. Welcome, next speaker.
Hi, my name is Jaden Stafford. When I first started writing at A-Town, it was hard because I hardly knew anyone there. Then I met Kennedy, Claire, Amy, and Quinn, and they were super nice to me. Now I've been writing for almost a year, and I have progressed in my scootering because of all the workers and staff there. I hope you will help us, and I hope you will help us so more kids can help A-Town. So more kids can come to A-Town and see what a good community and fun place it is. I'm happy that I ride at A-Town and I choose that as one of my sports. I love A-Town and scooting there. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome to our next speaker.
Hi, my name is Kyla, and I'm here to support the A-Town Park. This is why I love the A-Town Park. The workers are amazing, and it is a great place to ride and learn new tricks. And I have made a lot of new friends there. It is a great place to do. It is a great place to do new tricks. I enjoy being there because they are really nice people and workers. It is very safe and people love to be there. And the scooter camps are a great place to learn new tricks with the coaches there. I was very lonely when I first got there, but a second later I made new friends. There was some bad accidents, but the workers wait, the workers were great helpers to them. And now I know now I know everyone there. And wait, and there are more than just people who ride scooters. There are people who ride skateboards and roller skates. There are a lot of ramps to do new tricks on and learn new things that you can do. Me and my sister go there almost every day. The workers help me learn new tricks, and that is why I love A-Town Park. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Welcome next speaker.
Hello, I'm Amy. I am 18 years old and I've been riding A-Town for 4 years now. And throughout my career, I have already done so many great things, and I hope to continue to do so many great things with my career. This place is so welcoming, it's safe, and you can always count on having a good time at A-Town. To be honest, this place has changed me for the better. I didn't have a good childhood as a kid. I was always so angry and I didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't have a place to go be a kid and be myself with my other friends. This place always gave me a place that I can always depend on and know where I can go and escape the reality of my home life. The moment I walked into A-Town, I instantly knew I found my safe place. And for that, I say thank you to A-Town and On and Kevin, and for their amazing support. I wouldn't be where I'm at now without them or the park. It may just seem like a skate park, but truly it's a safe place to go and forget. You probably can't tell, but on the inside, it's healing a kid mentally and their mind to escape tough situations. I know it helped me, and for that, I'm so grateful for this place. And I hope you guys take this into consideration of helping A-Town with their outdoor park. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Welcome next speaker.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cheryl. I am one of the probably few grandmothers that hang out at the skate park. These kids, I'm a 30+ year retired educator. And when I go to A-Town and I hang out there with my grandchildren and all of these children, it is a really, really special and important environment for the city of Atascadero, in my opinion. Kids can go there. There's all kinds of kids there with all kinds of backgrounds, with all kinds of needs, with all kinds of issues, with all kinds of wonderfulness. And to have a place with an environment that's safe and secure, and they know it and they feel it, is really, really important for the city, in my opinion. And I just appreciate your consideration in helping us get the park up to par. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. Welcome next speaker.
Hi, my name is Lily. I work for Kevin and Andrea at their board shop. working there, I've noticed a lot of kids coming in saying that they're getting kicked out of certain spots of the city, which is, reasonable considering the damage that skateboarding does do to the concrete and whatnot. But by redoing the back of A-Town, not only are you, helping the kids that already love it and go there daily, but it also brings more audience to the kids that ride the street park spots they're getting kicked out of. And by redoing the back of it, you're kind of bringing more attention to the back of the park and the kids that like the street stuff. And so I feel as though redoing the back of it would not only stop the kids from skating the spots you don't want them to skate, but helping the kids that already love it there and just want the best for the park.
Thank you, Lily. Welcome, next speaker.
Jeff Oslin, once again, council. I think on the three options that we have, I think that maybe our council could look into what we have available in parkland funds to fund both the pickleball area, so it's one and done, and we're not having to do maintenance nonstop. And I think we also need to keep in consideration moving forward in the next budget cycle, and I know we just did it, so it would be 2 years off. But we do need to be reinvesting back in our youth. If we're investing in our youth, they're off the streets, they're not going to create crime as much, they're not going to have as much problems in our area. And therefore, long-term, it's a very good thing, whether it's the skate park or the community center and our recreation programs. And one of the things that we did do with passing a D20 is we made the priorities that infrastructure was going to be taken care of first and foremost. Salaries with our employees, whether it was police, fire, maintenance, would be adequate and at the bottom of the pack. And we've done a great job accomplishing all of that. And moving forward, maybe it's time to invest a little bit more funds in our recreation programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oslin. Anyone else here wishing to speak on this item that's here? And come on forward, Mr. Campion.
Wow. So, 17 years is about what I put in at A-Town. I started out picking up the ball for Austin Miller, who came in about that time and agreed to partner with the city, incur costs, build out the indoor park, and take the equipment owned by the city and establish the outside park. That was about 17 years ago, and I was walking alongside for a couple of years on that, and ultimately ended up taking over and signing a contract with the city of Atascadero 15 years ago, the first of 3 5-year contracts. And the first 5 years was nothing but a financial burden for my family. It was a very challenging time. The park was in need of a lot of attention, to say it the most respectful way I can. In about 5 years' time, we were able to create enough momentum that we started seeing the park being self-supporting. And in the ensuing 10 years or so, we built a brand that belongs in the park. We built the brand A-Town Park that's known worldwide now. We've created a handful of world caliber athletes, including world champions, both men and women. Pretty hard not to promote them because all these kids, because our motto is, it's not what you ride, it's how you ride. Right? So I can't handle this at all.
Thank you, Kevin. Okay, everybody clap. Let's do one. And it's hard to hold that in, I know. Anyone else wishing to speak on this item? All right, I'm going to look to the webinar and see if there is anybody in the webinar. There's just a handful of you there. You could raise your hand. I'm not seeing anybody. And Luke, I don't see anyone on the phone, correct? All right. Mr. Brown, while we're still open, if you could come back up for a moment. I would like to ask, as you know, you made the comment that it is a city facility, and so your thought is you'd like the city to pay for the improvements, and with the use agreement, you're willing to help maintain and things like that. And what I would ask you is, because you heard, the benches that we're going to do, and a big part of that is Kiwanis doing the fundraising and doing those benches, and out at A-Town, the way that started, and a lot of that didn't come from the city. It's a lot of the recreation projects in our city have been collaborative, and certainly the pickleball court was, and you and your club have been a big part of that. So is there any willingness, it would help us as we're making these decisions on whether or not to move forward with something, is there any willingness on the part of the pickleball club to help with some fundraising to get this done? Or is that completely off the table in your mind?
It's a difficult thing. We have to budget for the ongoing maintenance of it. One of the key things that we have to deal with is court resurfacing. Pickleball courts, believe it or not, get a tremendous amount of use, as I told you, by number of visits. And looking at the Paso Club, for example, the Paso courts up there, they had to resurface them in about 5 years. So we're about 2 years into it already. The budget for that is about $15,000. We're on the hook for the entire amount. So as we go forward, we are trying to create reserves. We budget just like you folks budget. To make sure that we pay our obligations to the city. We pay you $4,000 a year which is a discounted rate. We realize that, to use the courts, but at the same time, possibly maybe something could be earmarked for that $4,000 for us to come up with the kind of money that you're talking about sharing here. I think Nick, you said it was 17,000 for the DG and the thing. That's just astronomical to me when I think of, I'm a construction guy, so when I think of DG and I think of 9 feet by 60 feet, where's $17,000? I don't understand that, but I'm not trying to question that. I'm just trying to say that that's a staggering number for us to even think about trying to share when we're faced with daily maintenance of the courts, not only for us, but for the public as well.
Yeah, we find the 17 that we often find what projects cost to be staggering, and that's partly being government and partly being in the state of California and the other things. Councilmember Borbo, did you have?
Question and comment. I mean, I spoke with you briefly this morning and Mr. Avery at length, and you just mentioned in your earlier comments, the club would be willing to provide labor to help do it. And this is a simple project of, digging out dirt and then, 3 inches of dirt in a very narrow space, adding DG, compacting, and then putting on turf.
Yeah, I think our labor rate would probably be a little less expensive than you'd have to pay.
That would be my guess too.
No, we would do that gratis. We've got a lot of very excited, motivated members. I think I don't know whether I mentioned, we have 150 members.
Right.
Okay.
I think your contribution.
So we can certainly contribute that way. Hopefully it would be under Nick and Matt's direction.
And
he'll tell us where to go, where to line up, and where to shovel and where to level and all that stuff. We can certainly do that. And we might be able to save a lot of money that way too.
Exactly. I think your labor contributions are what we're looking for. And I think, I'm pretty sure you'll get some financial donations. So anyway,
And maybe a Rotarian, apparently.
I think, I think it's important that you guys are willing to provide your labor because, I actually kind of expect that out of you. And I'm glad to see it, from the Little League folks as well. I don't expect the kids to be out hammering and building and tearing up asphalt.
No, please
but
don't.
I do expect that of the pickleball club and the Little League. So
just one last thing. We are going to be meeting with Terry and Larice here later this week. There are some objectives that we're hoping that we can talk to the city about too, and maybe there's some sort of quid pro quo thing that we can work with them on to see what we can do. But from the standpoint of the financial obligations, we have not budgeted anything for that for this year.
Just out of curiosity, what are your annual costs. You've got the 4,000, you're saving about 5,000 a year for resurfacing and then a few other
Yeah, we
things.
have-
maybe 10.
we have Probably about $4,000 in other costs. We provide, for example, balls for, that's $1,000. We go through $1,000 in pickleballs. So, the little things like that.
They add up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, that we've noticed that when you come out and look at the courts, you see skateboard marks. We're seeing blistering from a foreign material on one of them that's starting to blister up. So we're going to have to see how we can address that. It affects the court when you play and the ball hits it and shoots off to the side. So little things like that.
All right.
And I believe they have to save money to provide new nets, ultimately,
Yeah.
that kind of
Yeah.
other.
By the nets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything that breaks, anything that happens on the courts, that we have to do.
Okay, Mr.
Okay.
Brown, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. If there's no other public comment on this item, Sandy, I'm going to close public comment and bring it back to the council. So first of all of you young folks who are here and you came up to speak, I commend you because many adults have a hard time speaking publicly at a microphone in front of a council with cameras going. And you all did a wonderful job. You really had nice, concise points, things that were powerful. You made good arguments and you spoke clearly and you were positive in your approach. And I thank you for that. And I think Kevin and Andrea, that is probably a testament to you as well as all of those working at the park. So you're doing a fantastic job. You guys keep it up. Public speaking is an excellent skill to hone. All right. Let's look at the three different options here. If we take just and kind of take them one at a time, I'm actually going to go with item number 2 first, because I think that's the simplest and really the direction is go for it. Number 2, anything anybody has to say?
Well, we have some money budgeted for it, so that's kind of
Correct.
the go for it.
That's why
the
it's go
simple
for it,
thing, but
yes.
I would wonder if there is room for possible additional picnic tables if they were sponsored by service clubs or whoever. And or with the possibility of some of the physical labor done by Kiwanis or whoever, to basically expand the reach of those dollars that are already budgeted. So that I don't think it, needs to come back council or anything, but just a matter of if you can stretch that and to be instead of 3 benches, to make it 4 or 5 or something with some of those other resources of time and money, that would be great.
And we all concur. All right. So that leaves us with numbers 1 and 3. So let's take, so we're good on 2. And that's all you need from us is that direction. So number 1 with the pickleball seated area. Comments on that? I'll actually start with you, Councilmember Borbo.
Well, as I said, I don't want city to spend 17,000 because it seems like a heck of a lot of money for what we're talking about. But part of that is probably because if the city and city employees do the work or contract to be done, it would involve prevailing wage, et cetera. I would think that, we would want to see the pickleball club who's offered to at least do the labor. We'll see if they could raise funds without affecting otherwise affect their budget. See if it could be done more cheaply than the dollar amount indicated.
Do you think that is viable? Because I know there's sometimes when we have projects where we think, oh, if we had volunteers, but there ends up being some labor law or something with the state or a city related thing where for whatever reason, we unfortunately cannot accept that, which is very frustrating to many individuals, city and community wise. So is that actually possible for us to do?
Yeah, and initially I talked to Mr. Brown about, the city coming in, doing the DG and then having the pickleball club procure, that artificial turf and install it. If there's members of the pickleball club that want to donate their time or whatever and they're contractors, I'm guessing he might have some contractors in the club. That might be useful too. There's not a lot of like manual. We'd have to come in there and then excavate out, 6 inches and then put DG back, and then we do the AstroTurf or artificial turf, keep it down 1/2 inch from the existing surfaces. and compact that. So, I mean, the city does have that equipment, mentioning all those roads and the road, shoulder repairs and everything else. I know Matt and his guys and gals are pretty busy out there, but, so, I mean, the labor part, I mean, we don't really give volunteers power tools or anything else, so it's usually manual labor. But if there are, like, we can talk to the pickleball club and see if there's contractors in their group that would be willing to maybe donate some time and equipment time or whatever to do some of these pieces. That'd be ideal.
I'm kind of looking to the back row to see if there's any heads nodding or moving around. Well, let's say, I think here's maybe what we need to do is be able to, what Director DeBar is saying is if there were contractors as part of your club, people who have that expertise, because the challenge becomes, lay people trying to work on this type of project, there ends up being challenges with that. And, as the director said, we can't just give power tools to, and you've got liability issues and things like that. So if there is somebody in the club or related to the club that is willing to, donate services to help to do that, and then that reduces the cost, that would be very helpful. So maybe that's something that we could be discussing with you after this, if that is useful. So if I need to open it up, I'm going to open back up public comments so we can get this. Yeah, go ahead. I'm going to open back up public comments so we can talk about it. And then if there's anyone else that wanted to talk, you could as well.
We haven't approached it that way, and there's no reason if I couldn't go back to our board and look at it from the approach like that and see if we could reach out if we do have any contractors that are members of the club that could come forward and do that kind of thing. My thought to Nick was, just trying to be creative and helpful. We do have people that have, they're not two thumbs or whatever, they're handy people and they can get stuff done. And that's the kind of crew that we send to make sure that it happened, and we saw it through, and saw it all the way through. Here's another comment.
Another comment. All right.
I'll just add to this, if City and Pickleball Club came to some form of agreement, I'm sure Glenn's could donate the mini excavator, the dump trailer, and the vibra plate that it would require. So that takes care of all of it.
Okay.
So perhaps you could just give us direction and we can work out all these details.
Perfect. I just wanted to see if that was something they were amenable to, or if it was absolutely like, no, we can't do that. So this lets us know there's some things to work through. So anyone else wanting to speak on this while I have public comment open? No? All right, we're going to go ahead and close public comment. And yes, I think direction to you is we would like to see this work out in the way that's most economically possible and see what donations and all sorts of types are out there. Are we good on that? In agreement?
Yes, it's moving exactly the
All
right
right.
direction. It's
Wonderful.
It's something we need to do.
Okay. We'll go to number 3 now. And this is the skate park. I will say you were not the only ones I've heard talk about the importance of the skateboarding as well. I was at the Ice Cream Zufari earlier this year. Was it Ice Cream Zufari? It was one of the ice cream things. We do, I think, multiple ice cream things. And I was talking to several of the scouts who were working the event, and they mentioned, needing a place to skateboard. And so we know this is a particular need amongst our youth, and it would obviously diminish, I think, some of the challenges we have in other areas, or the conflicts with, places where you're not ideally not supposed to be skateboarding, but that need to go out and skateboard as a kid, understand that. And, the comments that Mr. Oslin made, and I think we would all agree, D20, looking at some D20 funds to be able to fund something like this, I think is important, because having young people, lots of opportunities, and Larissa talked tonight about how many programs we have and how much we're expanding. And this is part of that. And that is an important investment that all of us feel is necessary. So I think, my sense would be, as much as the concrete would be lovely, that is a really big bite. But I would like to see us look at doing the whole asphalt overlay, making it the skating area, look at, kind of doing what needs to be done in the building. I mean, that's the take I have, but I would like to hear what my council members think. Councilmember
Well,
Borbo.
I actually had potentially a question for Mr. Campion on this, because we show that, option one is to keep the ramps in place and basically or work around them. That doesn't seem to me to be a great idea because it's like painting around pictures on the wall, as Mr. Lewis described it to me this morning. But number two would be to remove them and do it. But I'm wondering, for Mr. Campion, from a brief comment you made before the meeting, whether really you'd want an option three, whether you would prefer an option three, which would be to remove the ramps, do the whole thing in new asphalt, but then put back some of the ramps.
And so I'm going to officially open up public comment again for this third time. All right, look at us,
All right.
Mr. Campion.
Test. All right. I appreciate you opening it back up because the kids killed me. They ruined me. And I lost my ability to really communicate there for a minute. But the vision I have for the community would be to offer more. And currently we're really tooled to serve 8 to 12-year-olds foremost. Obviously, we're open to everybody in the community, regardless of age, 6 years and older, due to insurance limitations. But because of how we're structured and the boundaries that we're very clear about in how we run the facility, we really aren't as successful with those teens and young adults that we're finding in other parts of Atascadero, and sometimes creating conflict because of what they're doing in areas that maybe are less than appropriate. So the vision I have, and I've been sharing with all of you for the most part, is to more or less remove everything down the center of the outdoor facility. Once that's done, we leave the best of the equipment that we do have from the original grant that the city got. And on the perimeter, we clean the entire main line of the slab out back and resurface it. And once that's done, we come back with more of a plaza type of setup and obstacles that can be moved, that are low impact, like rails and little kickers. And we will still have the intermediate lines that we currently, that those of you have visited, that we currently have, where we have opposing quarter pipes and banks, and then sort of a pyramid structure in the middle that they can roll over and practice more scooter type tricks, but also skateboarding. Once that area is smooth, skateboarders are going to really enjoy it. We're also, and this is all the demolition and all of the reassembly will be on me and my constituents that support. Sunday we were just in there. We had 7 or 8 adults and a bunch of annoying kids, and we did a lot of work. Did a lot of maintenance, just necessary work to keep it safe. Well, that same community is really excited about participating in doing the needed work on the outside as well. And of course, they all sign waivers, and we all run it according to the boundaries that we need to stay within in how we're conducting ourselves. But if that helps answer your question, we're talking about cleaning out the entire middle, disassembling all that equipment, coming back with less equipment when we reassemble, and making sure the reassembly includes updating of surfaces. I mean, every sheet's $170. And the last 15 years, that's all been for us to regenerate and provide. One more comment, if you'll just allow me. When I came in 17 years ago, that equipment that was in the outside park was already there. When I signed 15 years ago, that equipment in the outside park was already there. I never challenged the notion that the outside park was or wasn't included, because that entire property was owned by the city, and I signed to stand at the gate for the city for the last 15 years. So I've been doing repairs on the outside park, but it's gotten out of hand. The fences are falling away into the creek. There's cracks that have become unsafe. for kids to ride over. The trees are impacting the facility to a point where they're actually, kids are running into trees as they're riding on the ramps. And the list goes on. And Matt, I appreciate your help, and I understand the challenges the city's been confronted with the last 12 to 18 months. It's been unprecedented. So I've really reined in on my phone calls and messages. But nonetheless, the work needs to be done, and it's overwhelming. And without the help that I have from parents like David Pritchard, you still here? That guy right there, I mean, he started out, he was in the park before me. He's back with 3 daughters riding the park, and he was there Sunday morning at 8:30 with screw guns, tearing the place apart, putting it back together again. And that's the kind of community we have here. And that's why I looking at my wife crying over there kind of got me, but that's why we're still doing this is so important, is because it's not about what you ride. It's with the kids standing up here and speaking as eloquently as they did. That's our success. That's what we're doing. They're going to go on to be citizens. They're not going to go on to be scooter riders or skateboarders. That's not our goal here. And so I'm super proud of what A-Town Park is contributing to the community. And so whatever you deem appropriate is going to spin more success for that community. And I do have an amazing staff. As an example, Will, who stepped in a year ago. That's a really important part of it. And what Andre and I are doing is generating those resources in the form of staff and programs for these kids. That's all that this is about. So whatever you're able to do, that's blessings, and we appreciate it.
If you could stay there, I was going to see if
Yes,
other of my
Well,
council members
had a
had.
follow on. I wanted to ask you, though, if I understand correctly, really, you prefer that we re-asphalt the whole thing and you be able to rebuild at your labor, I guess,
Yes, sir.
necessary, whatever ramps you can retreat or redeem, taking the best pieces, et cetera. Would be your preferred.
I don't think we have a choice. To be really candid, the condition of that outdoor asphalt is such that it's all going to end up in the creek. It's slowly just melting away. We've lost some fencing. We've lost some actual real estate into the creek as it is, and the cracks are running horizontally all the way down the property. Water's penetrating through that slab, and we're seeing erosion, and it's going to compromise the integrity of the entire property if that maintenance isn't done.
Relative to removing them all, paving it and leaving it an open area, you would prefer to bring back some of the ramps.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that was $150,000 worth of equipment, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And a lot of it, I mean, the bones are great. A lot of the surfacing needs to be updated, but we would reduce the amount of ramps, stash some parts in the corners, and amend the facility so that it's more tooled for the skateboard community and a little less tooled towards,
which is just to make clear, I
don't think
understand.
we need as much detail. I think staff can be working out.
No,
what
I
needs to
understand it, but
happen.
if I understand this correctly, essentially, you have an indoor scooter park going on with some outdoor. This would essentially add the capability to essentially have a skate park.
Right.
For 50
We have a lot of skateboarders inside, and yeah, that will continue to be the case. But the outdoor, we want a little bit more of a plaza feel. We even talked about doing a small pump track on the left side around some of the facility.
And then
Okay,
I
so
don't
I'm
need to
gonna-
know
I'm
those
gonna- I'm
details.
gonna-
You can work that
I'm
out.
gonna,
with
I'm gonna
staff.
pause us with the detail and talk to other council members. But first I want to ask Terry, do we need to now name this plaza at A-Town Park?
There you go. That's a good idea. Point taken.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, and I want to thank you. Thank you for the amazing work that you all are doing and the kids. This is such a valuable service to our community. If you could clarify the vision that you just outlined, how that relates to options 1 and 2 and the concrete option that we're looking at that our staff has asked us to comment on. Does the vision that you described, is that something that can be accomplished with asphalt and milling and overlaying the park, the outdoor area, and then moving?
I appreciate the question. It's a shorter term, frankly, fix. Asphalt is is less desirable for skateboarding. Skateboarders are riding 50 mil wheels that are rock hard. It's a sport that really is best done on concrete and on brushed concrete, smooth as possible. So asphalt won't be ideal, but I've been assured by staff when we talked about this over the last few weeks meeting at the park that there's different grain, there's different textures on asphalt, and we could go with something with almost a sand finish that would actually meet the needs of skateboarders. But we wouldn't see the longevity that we would with concrete. Concrete's it's beyond my dreams. You know, I'd love to see that outdoor area for the sake of the property and the longevity as far as what that property as it accrues value and so forth, all those things. Concrete would be the right way to go. But let's be pragmatic and offer something that we can afford to do.
Sure, yeah, because the choice that we're looking at is, concrete, which is quite a bit, another $250,000 more expensive than what we're talking about here with an asphalt
Right.
solution.
Right.
And we have to weigh off what, the other opportunities for youth in the community that
Of
could be
course.
achieved by that same thing, to it being worth the better surface. So that's,
I totally understand and agree.
yeah, we're all working on that.
Comment from Councilmember Newsom.
Thank you. I have a scooter over here that's been on her scooter since she was 3.5. So she's been watching your young aspiring individuals. But I do think it's really important that we do spend some time and help invest in keeping our kids in a place that's safe for them. And what you have done of giving your heart and soul has been huge for our community. And you have inspired young women and men and young kids to step up and find something deep inside themselves that a skateboard and a scooter isn't giving them as a career. So thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Right. I think that does it for our questions. Thank you. Now that I have opened up public comment, anyone else wishing to speak? All right. I'm not seeing hands or anything. We're going to close public comment in. So, looking at this, I think I'm kind of getting the consensus that we're good with that option number 2 is what we're looking at, but you'll talk with them, figure things out. We're not making an exact decision tonight.
Clearly here's support from the council, so you can come back with a full.
Yeah, and possibly, Mr. Campion, I would talk with that Rotary Club that seems like they're kind of trying to compete with Kiwanis, and maybe they will make your dreams come true.
Well, one of those ramps in back has a big Rotary logo on it because
But just imagine a big Rotary logo stamped right in the middle of that concrete. Wouldn't that be amazing? All right. All right. So you have the direction you need. All right. Thank you so much. And thank you all for coming out tonight.
that is
And we look forward to seeing you maybe at future meetings, right? As a youth and as you grow up and you're participating in our community. Good job tonight.
that is
All right. I'm going to ask, does anyone need to take a brief break right now? We're good. All right. So let's go through here. So we finished up all of our management reports. We're going to now move on to council announcements and committee reports. This is the part of our agenda where council members might make a brief announcement on something they've been doing in the community or a report on the standing committees on which they serve. So I will start from my right to my left. Councilmember Newsom.
I've been quiet. I have nothing to report.
All my committees have been active, so I have things to report. First, the Atascadero Basin Groundwater Sustainability Agency was back in action this past week. Routine meeting, but keep an eye out. We'll do an annual report that will be available online for public comment in the February-March timeframe. And that will be reporting on the last water year, which was, in a word, wet, very wet. So it should be a happy report in terms of the levels of water in the groundwater basin. We don't anticipate any problems with the state on the plan, but we are expecting to get feedback from the state on the basin plan early this in the next several weeks. Okay, Design Review Committee, Councilmember Dares and I will be involved with that meeting on Thursday. We are looking at a property that is downtown next to, in the vacant lot next to Brew Coffee House. It's a mixed use project. And then the Homeless Services Oversight Council will be meeting on the 17th.
And my committees have been quiet over the holidays but the IWMA board will be meeting tomorrow. Nothing exciting to expect at this point. We do expect the county, the accession of the county into the IWMA will be effective February 1st is our expectation.
Thank you.
I would add something though, not a committee, but Mayor Pro Tem Funk had reminded me that January 24th, I believe, is the homeless point in time count. And I think today or tomorrow is almost the last day to sign up and take the little training course, if anybody's interested in doing that.
Yes, thank you for mentioning that. And volunteers from the community are welcome. It does start a little bit later in the morning this year, 7:30 as opposed to like 4:30 in the morning. And and will include surveying as well, a conversation with each person, as well as just observing the persons that are homeless. So it is an opportunity to get a better understanding of the folks who are currently unhoused in our community.
I have a SLOCOG meeting tomorrow. Nothing hugely major on the agenda, except for the fact that we are getting another $800,000 for our downtown infrastructure enhancement project. So that is very exciting. So in addition to the $750 that came through the community betterments grant last year, there is some money remaining and they've added 800,000 to that. So we're just over 1.5 million for that project, which is fantastic. And I was last week I was on Protecting What Matters on KPRL for an hour. Nice interview. I always love the chance to brag about our city and all the great things we're doing. And one of the things I talked about was the zoo and our reaccreditation process. And I will let our director know what Barry said to me as well. It sounds like I need to have the zoo on. And I said, absolutely. So potentially Director Banish and maybe Mr. Baker might want to reach out, or I'll help connect you, but it would be great to always get publicity for the zoo and what we're doing. Okay, with that, I will ask if there are any individual determinations. All right, I'm not seeing any. We're going to go ahead and adjourn to the meeting of the successor agency. So I'm going to call to order the meeting of the successor agency to the Community Redevelopment Agency of Atascadero. And I would ask for a roll call, please.
Councilmember Borbo,
Here.
Councilmember Newsom,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Funk,
Here.
and Mayor Moreno.
Here.
Councilmember Dares is excused.
Thank you. Can I get an motion to approve the agenda?
Also move.
A second.
A motion by Councilmember Borbo, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Funk. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Borbo,
Yes.
Councilmember Newsom,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Funk,
Yes.
Mayor Moreno.
Yes, ma'am.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. On the consent calendar, we simply have the minutes from our January 10th, 2023 meeting. Any council member wanting to pull an item? Any member of the public? Nope. Can I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I'll move approval of the consent calendar.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilmember Borbo, second by Mayor Pro Tem Funk. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Borbo,
Yes.
Councilmember Newsom,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Funk.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Funk.
Yes.
And Mayor Moreno.
Call me whatever
Yes, ma'am.
you want.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. Moving on to community forum. This is the portion of the meeting for persons who want to speak to the board on something over which we have jurisdiction that is not on the agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Go ahead and come forward if there is anyone. I am not seeing anybody in chambers, anybody on the webinar that would like to, but I'm not seeing anyone. So I'll close community forum and I will thank you very much for being here. Management reports, we're going to go over to our Administrative Services Director, Ms. Jerry Rangel, to make our presentation on the RUPS.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Tonight we have our annual ROPS review for the year of 24-25. So the ROPS that we'll review tonight will go to the county for their January 29th meeting. And then following that, it will be turned into the State Department of Finance. It does cover 1 year of obligations from July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025. It also includes an administrative budget for the fiscal year as well. We are requesting 1.8 million in redevelopment property tax trust fund funds, RPTTF, and that is for bond debt service, the administrative allowance, and of course, the bond compliance piece. The oversight board will consider it, as I said, at their January 29th meeting, and then it must be certified by the State Department of Finance. And with that, I conclude my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Something we do every year, so we're pretty familiar with it. I would ask a brief question, and this goes to something we're going to be doing in the future, but I think we're looking at being able to refinance the bonds and save some money for not only the city, but jurisdictions throughout the county as well. What is the when are we expecting that to come?
That is correct. It's great news for us. We are looking to bring that potentially next meeting for your review, and then that would also give us the opportunity to review those with the County Oversight Board on January 29th.
I imagine that will be a unanimous thumbs up on that. But thank you to staff for being so proactive with this and forward thinking. We really appreciate that. Any questions on the ROPS? Not seeing any questions. All right, we'll go out to the public. Any member of the public wishing to speak on this item? I am seeing none. We'll close public comment and I will bring that back for a motion.
I'll move approval of the staff's recommendation to approve the ROPS for the upcoming period.
I'll second. We have a motion by Councilmember Borbeau, a second by Councilmember Newsom. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Borbeau.
Yes.
Councilmember Newsom.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Funk.
Yes.
Mayor Moreno.
Yes, ma'am.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. Do we have any board announcements or reports? All right, we are going to go ahead and adjourn the meeting to the Public Financing Authority. And with that, I will call to order the meeting of the Public Financing Order, let me say that again. I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Public Financing Authority. There we go. Roll call, please.
Okay. Board Member Borbeau.
Yes.
Board Member Newsom.
Here.
Vice Chair Funk and
Here.
Chair Moreno.
Here.
And Board Member Darris is excused.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
Second.
This is just our tradition, the way the agendas go.
It's like Jeopardy.
The others don't even want to say anything. It's just, this is how it goes. This is Hollywood Squares.
Yeah.
Jeopardy. So we've got a motion by Councilmember Borbeau, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Funk.
Vice Chair Funk.
Oh, Vice Chair Funk. Yes, thank you. By Board Member Borbeau and Vice Chair Funk. Roll call, please.
Board Member Borbeau.
Yes.
Board Member Newsom.
Yes.
Vice Chair Funk
Yes.
and Chair Moreno.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. All right, so we're on to community forum. Community forum is reserved for persons wanting to address the Public Financing Authority on items over which we have jurisdiction, but that are not on the agenda this evening. And speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone please come forward who would like to? All right, we don't see anybody. Perfect. We're having somebody tease us there. All right, so, and not seeing any callers or anyone else. Wonderful. So public community forum for the Public Financing Authority is closed. So we are on to any board announcements and reports. I'm not seeing any. So now we're on to our consent calendar. Any board member that would like to pull an item? Any member of the public? Nope. All right. Can I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Also move.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Borbeau, a second by Board Member Borbeau, a second by Vice Chair Funk. Roll call, please.
Board Member Borbeau.
Yes.
Board Member Newsom.
Here.
Vice Chair Funk Yes.
Chair Moreno.
Yes, ma'am.
Motion passes 4-0.
So there's only one meeting that lasts for 3 minutes a year where we are chairs and vice chairs and board members. So it's just trying to remember that.
And Mayor,
All
do I
right.
understand correctly that that we are not going to have this meeting next year?
So the successor agency will go away. The Public Financing Authority, I think, continues for future debt issues.
One of them will go away.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
All right. And with that, Happy New Year all, and we are adjourned. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Good night.